There are many caregivers who feel alone. They're surrounded by many, but they feel so lonely.
I got into the field because of the loneliness I observed. So when you talk about how it takes a village, looking back, I can see how lonely their parents were.
People didn't know how to say anything beyond "I'm sorry," so then they stopped calling because they didn't want to do the wrong thing.
What do we do when the village disappears?
Almost 41 years later. And even though there are other parents out there that can commiserate, it's still lonely because nobody is experiencing the same thing I am.
Every parent carries a story, every advocate carries hope, and every caregiver deserves to be seen. Welcome to The Circle, where we come together at the Parent Forge to share, to learn, and to remember that our voices are strongest when they rise together. Hello everybody, and welcome to The Circle at the Parent Forge. Today we're going to talk about the loneliness that caregivers face. You know, caregivers always say that the diagnosis didn't just change their social life, but they actually lost the village that they thought would stand by them. And today I have wonderful ladies with me to talk about the realities of loneliness and the feeling like we're doing this journey alone. So I will first have my lovely guests introduce themselves, and then we'll go right on to the conversation. So who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
I'm Lanta Totten. I'm the owner of Nourish Body, Mind, Soul in Barrington.
And I'm Nancy Vaughter. I teach yoga here, but I have a 40-year-old son with Down syndrome and a husband with Alzheimer's.
Hi, I'm Julie Wago. I am the owner and lead consultant at Connections Always. I'm also the executive director at the National Center for START Services at the Institute on Disability at the University of New Hampshire. That's a mouthful. Yes. And most importantly, I'm a family member and loved one of many people with disabilities, which is why I got in the field. So it's great to be here.
Yes, and of course, I'm the founder of the Parent Forge. I'm also a caregiver and an advocate and a mental health professional. So our conversation today is very important to me because there are many caregivers who feel alone. They're surrounded by many, but they feel so lonely. And so I'm curious what comes up for you, as you think about the idea of caregivers are lonely. What shows up?
I would say it's the sense of loneliness is you're in this by yourself in the sense that in my particular situation, my son's biological father, we were divorced. He only sees my son once a year now. So he's got a stepfather, but it's still hard because, you have another person coming into your life and you're hoping he'll open up his heart to my son, which did happen, but it was still all on me to do everything. And it's still that way almost 41 years later. And even though there are other parents out there that can commiserate, I get it, it's still lonely because, nobody is sharing the same thing. Nobody is experiencing the same thing I am.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to express what I'm feeling. So I just go into fantasy books and hide a lot of the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
You spoke about that village, and I had a son who had a bone marrow transplant when he was 14. Woof.
Yeah.
I get leaky. Months old. He was 14 months old. And nobody could handle the idea that he might have a fatal by 11 diagnosis. And so we talked about that village and what you think you have and then what you have in reality. People didn't know how to say anything beyond "I'm sorry," so then they stopped calling because they didn't want to do the wrong thing. I don't think that it was an unkind thing, but it was a reality that the people that you were spending all of your time with, that were going out to playgrounds with you, doing things with you, suddenly stepped away. And the phone calls became less and less frequent as the diagnosis then went into a treatment, which was a bone marrow transplant in 9 weeks at Children's Hospital. And then his lungs collapsed when he engrafted. And then again, they were like, oh my God, what do you do when your child is hooked up to machines to breathe? And how do you handle this? I can't imagine what that would be like. So I won't call. Even direct family members, people who I know love me, couldn't show up.
Yep.
And then we were in isolation. So again, a year of really only having a choice of 2 other humans besides my immediate family in the house. So I was at home alone with a husband who traveled 50 out of 52 weeks that year, and 3 children under the age of 4. Wow. And no support. And really no, what I love about what you're rolling out, Amma, is the idea of those listening circles so that they can zoom in. Yeah. That would have changed my whole life. To be able to say to someone, to put my children to bed and get on a call with other people who might be walking through fear and loneliness, or even to say, I know this is terrible, but I didn't sign up for this. I didn't want this. Can I do this? Do I have the wherewithal and the strength to do this? I don't know if I do. To say those things out loud, right? Yeah. But we're all thinking them, but you can't necessarily say them to your mother, like, or to someone who might judge you as not wanting your child or not wanting the situation. Of course we want our children, but we also can have fear and overwhelm. And so yeah, that whole village falls apart pretty quickly. And the reason I'm sitting here today is because I love that idea of those circles.
Yes.
They are going to, I'm going to cry again. Sorry. They are going to be a lifeline.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You mentioned something that's super valid, that 2 emotions can exist at the same time.
Yes.
There's a social worker in me, right? But it's true. And I don't think people allow them. We all often think that we have to think in absolutes. It has to be one or the other. I have to be all in. But I can be grateful and frustrated at the same time. And that's really difficult for other people to understand who haven't walked in your shoes. And when I actually learned this when my dad was sick. My dad was on dialysis for a while before he passed away. And I remember a nurse coming into his hospital room, and I don't know, he had said something, and she said, "I understand." And he said, "You do? You've done all this?"
Tell me about that.
Yeah. And my dad was a pretty blunt guy. He was a school principal, and, but the way I practiced social work after that was forever different. I would never use the words "I understand" because that carries so much weight. It carries so much weight. And I have, I have my own experiences with my family and my friends who have disabilities, and have had been with them my entire life. They're the reason I work in this field. But I don't have that experience. I have children, but I don't have that experience as a parent. But I got into the field because of the loneliness I observed. So when you talk about how it takes a village, I watched my friends' parents, and it's kind of fun. It's looking back how I realized it at such a young age, and observed their parents at such a young age, of how their parents, looking back, I can see how lonely their parents were within, even though they were in relationships, because they were addressing their roles as parents and caregivers to, sometimes they had a child with a disability and a child without a disability, and they were dealing with everyday life experiences completely differently. Yeah. And so they carried emotions differently, and validation differently, and stress differently. And we think everything's okay because it looks okay from the outside. But I look back and they were lonely. Yeah. Because they were, so, I mean, that's really why I got in the field, was because there were times where I was given support for my mental health, and my friends and family, I tell the story all the time, they were not able to access that mental health support, but either were their families. Nobody ever thought to ask them what they needed, because if they were surviving, they must be thriving. And that was just baloney. Right. Not necessarily the case.
Yeah. I just want to say what you mentioned about how people stopped calling because they didn't know what to say. To this day, when I mention that I have a son with Down syndrome, 9 times out of 10, I get, I'm sorry. Wow. I mean, wow, I also have a son with green eyes. Would anybody say, oh, I'm sorry?
It's such a judgment on,
and so it's like, I don't even know what to say, but the same thing happened. I lost a lot of friends and some family. I had an uncle who thought Nathaniel would grow out of it. It's like, well, that's an interesting thought. So, and when he was first born, the nurse that handed him to me, he was 8 weeks early. He was just over 3 pounds. It was And she said, he's very cute for a mongoloid. So this is, 40 years ago. That's what I was faced with. Like, wait, what? Yeah.
Wow.
So I retreated even more. So my first baby, premature, Down syndrome, I'm like, I don't even know, we don't know what to do, right? I mean, similar situation with you, with your son. All of a sudden you're hit with this diagnosis and it's like, boom. All right, I got to grow up really fast. But it's amazing. I'm here for you. But you're really not.
Yeah. Right.
But or people will say, well, anything you need. And
let
it's
me
like,
know if you need anything.
Yeah, let me know if you need anything.
Where do I begin?
Let me just give you the list. But then when God forbid you actually tell them what you need.
Yes.
Or that it feels safe.
Yeah.
Because like what you need is not a casserole at that point.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, how do I not need a casserole?
You need somebody to just, I know that when my childhood best friend had mitochondrial disease, and her 2 siblings had it as well. So all 3 of them.
I know who you're talking about.
You do?
I believe so.
In Massachusetts?
Oh, no. There's somebody here in New Hampshire.
Wow. Oh, my goodness. Well, that is wild. But all 3 of them have passed away, and they far outlived their life expectancy. But the piece of, what do you need and when do you need it? And sometimes you just need somebody to listen to that, those 2 things existing at the same time, right? And invalidating that and just, or saying, I don't know what I'm feeling right now, and I just need to be in this space.
Yeah. Right.
Because otherwise it feels lonely.
Yeah. And instead of, I understand, how about tell me more?
Right. Help me understand.
Right? Yeah.
Just help me understand.
Yeah. Or they don't, we don't need to understand.
Yep.
Yeah.
No.
May you never understand what it feels like to have your son's lungs collapse and be in ICU.
Yeah, exactly.
I never want you to understand. I just want you to allow me a space to talk about it.
Yeah. And
Right?
don't try to
Fix it.
Right.
Exactly. I don't
I'm
need
scared.
you to fix it.
Don't be scared.
And I think that's why a lot of people move away, because they think that you expect them to fix it or to have the answers. But I don't need your answers. I don't need you. I just need you to show up for me.
Right.
I just need you to be the person I could reach out to when I'm lonely on a day and I just want to talk. Yeah. Or the person who will come and make me laugh for 5 minutes, but not to fix it, because I know it's not on you to fix it. Right.
After Declan was doing better, and then we got through our year of isolation, a friend of mine, and I'm going to really mess up the diagnosis, but a friend of mine had a son who was born, and it's the situation where they come in it's flaccid muscles, so they have trouble suckling, but then they don't feel satiation, so they are the children that they seal up the fridge to keep them out of the fridge, because
that's like my son.
they tend to go towards obesity, and there is a name for the diagnosis, and I don't recall
it's not
it.
Down syndrome?
It isn't, but it looks a lot.
My son.
It looks a lot like it. And my new superpower after having lived through this with my son is that when I talked to my friend, I said, "How are things going?" He's like, "Yeah, where are my parents? Where is my family? I thought they would have me. They don't have me." And I said, I'm going to be heading down to town. Can I come for a visit? And I let my friend just talk and share all the sadness. Like, we can grieve that you didn't have a healthy baby. That doesn't mean you don't love the baby you have, but can we grieve that we had a picture in our mind that this healthy baby was going to maybe play soccer and then maybe play softball and then maybe go on to school and college and have a career and a wife or a boyfriend or a whomever, and all of this was going to be your trajectory, and now it's changed. And can you just listen? And so I went down and I practiced my new superpower, and I just let this person talk and tell me all the loss, all the frustration, all the anger at the family that wasn't there for them, because I'd also never want to turn that on the family, right? But you can feel it. You can feel disappointed that these people you love aren't what you hoped. And it was interesting, and I won't ever say, oh, I'm not glad that happened to my son and that he had to walk through it, but I'm super grateful for the opportunity to be able to listen to someone and know to not say I understand, know to not do anything but just listen, just bear witness to their story and let them orally process their experience, right? And what a gift I feel like I've been given that I can do that. Ooh, I'm like gonna win the leaky star. I'm the crier.
And as we all share, it sounds like this is a very common experience, because I have felt lonely. You're all talking about loneliness. It means that I'm not crazy. It validates me. And I'm sure the listener out there is also feeling like, oh, okay, the loneliness that I feel is real. I'm not crazy, right? So now the question becomes, how do we deal with this? What do we do when the village disappears, right? What do we do when the village that we thought will be here for us is not there? How do we overcome it? What do we do?
Well, I found yoga. That's how I'm here. I know.
That saved my life.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not for everybody, but
Nope.
I think it's trying to find
a new, I don't want to use the word tribe, but find a new community, find a new village.
community.
I'm going to keep talking about your listening circle since you're not, because what an offering, what a beautiful offering. The world, these people need a place to be able to talk and have a new community, have a new support system, one that, again, we won't say will understand, but does know enough to say, I can listen and I don't have to fix you. I don't have to understand your exact experience. What did my girlfriend Suzanne said? She said, there's no pain Olympics, right? There's no suffering Olympics that we're all gonna, my son is well now, and there are families whose sons or children will, I don't want to say never be well, will not have changed experience. And so I was kind of being an apologist, and she said, no. So I think those circles are powerful for whatever anyone's walking through, whether it's an immediate thing, whether it's something that will change, whether it's something that is forever, giving them opportunities to be in community. We all need community. That is our nature.
And you've created it for us, so thank you.
You sure have.
So you heard it, right? We have the free listening circles every week. It's all virtual. It's online. You don't need to prep. You don't need to be on any mat. You don't need to be in any costume. Nothing. Just show up just as you are, right? You can come with a drink. You don't even need to be on video. You don't even need to talk. Just show up and connect with other caregivers who understand what you're going through, because they're also on the journey. It's just a safe space for you. And so if you want to know more about the Parent Forge free listening circles, go to www.theparentforge.com/listening circles. And the link is going to be in the video description. Sign up for a free listening circle and start your journey of building the new community that's here to support you. Take care and have a lovely day. Thank you for joining us in the circle at the Parent Forge. If this conversation spoke to you, we'd love for you to join our free weekly listening circle, a space to pause, breathe, and connect with others who understand the journey. Subscribe, share, and keep the conversation going. And remember, together we are forging strength, one conversation at a time.